the heart of what truly matters, our families. Healthy families make healthy societies. I'm Randy.
And I'm Leslie. We're diving deep into the powerful insights of Dr. Randy's groundbreaking book, The Family Legacy: Shaping Culture from the Inside Out.
Hear inspiring stories and strategies to transform your family. We'll explore topics like communication, forgiveness, healing, parenting, marriage. We'll cover it all.
We'll have provoking conversations with experts, coaches, and real-life families who are benefiting from intentional family building.
This podcast isn't just about theories, it's about tools that you can implement today.
We all come from families, so this podcast is for you.
Join us on this incredible family journey. Subscribe now as we learn to do family as God designed.
Transforming families one episode at a time. Remember, whoever wins the family wins the culture in the end. Let's go.
Hi there, welcome back to Transforming Families with Randy and Leslie. I'm Randy.
I'm Leslie.
And we are continuing our family equipping segment. We're in the final tool in the ritual protocol, which is this regular gathering at the table around our family in an intentional time. And this last tool is called the coach approach to family. And this is really one of the distinctives of all of our work. It's the way in which we communicate or parent or lead in our families so that we develop one another, we disciple one another. Instead of just telling somebody what to do, there's a different way to do it where we ask questions and we process and we draw out and actually help people learn how to think. Learn how to, what you say, think a thought all the way through. And the consequences, yeah.
Yeah, it's part of this is even critical thinking, which just is not taught in our education realm anymore. And it's also crucial to identity. Helping our family members through this coach approach, dig down and find out what's real for them.
Yeah.
If we have our own revelation, our own aha, versus somebody just telling us how to think or how to feel, when it happens inside of us and we have this revelation, oh, wow, this is really who I am and how I think about this and what's important to me, it reinforces identity when it's done in an environment that's safe, that's open, that's I want to hear you. I want to know you. This coach approach way of communicating really tells your family members that I want to see you and I want to know you.
Yeah. And it's not just like who you are as the latest flavor in ideology. It's who you are in God's design.
Yes.
And how do you and I embody God's character? And so hopefully, if you joined us last time, we had you planning out your own family ritual and what is the fun we're having and the food we're eating and the topic of our stories, the character and nature of God and the wisdom. But we wanted to leave this coach approach piece because it deserves its own targeting, And so the coach approach, what is it? Well, in that family ritual, we've gotten through the flow of the gathering, and it's coming down to concluding the intentional conversation piece. And we want to take it from just theory or ideas into practice, into application. I mean, that's the idea that we don't just teach about God's character, but we become God's character. And so let's say the topic for the ritual was perseverance. Right? That's a characteristic of God. It's a good one we all need. And we've shared our stories and we've gone to the scriptures around wisdom. And now it's time for this coach approach where we're taking it from an idea to how do we apply it in our lives.
Yeah. And you may not get through every family member in one sitting around, especially if you've got a larger family. But let's just say you got a teenage daughter or son, and the topic of the conversation in the story has been around perseverance. And the coach approach sounds something like this. Hey, daughter, where in this next season, in the next few weeks before we get together again for another ritual, where in your life do you need perseverance? Yeah. And your daughter or son might come back with, gosh, well, you know what? I'm coming up on the end of the semester and I've got this term paper that's really important. Like this is the big one that is going to affect my ability to get into college. Like, this term paper is really important to me, and I've got a lot of distractions
Mhm.
going on, and I need perseverance to be able to get this paper across the finish line. Like, okay.
Yeah. So that's the first transition, taking from the topic of perseverance to now teenage daughter. Where in your life do you need this character quality of God specifically? Okay, the term paper. Okay,
Yeah.
take us from there.
And so, okay, well, then what are some of the obstacles around getting it across the finish line? Well, I really need some quiet space.
Yeah.
This is a really loud house I'm on that. I
Mhm.
mean, I love my younger brothers and sisters, but boy, if I could have a couple of hours over the next few weeks, maybe after dinner, like if the house could just be quiet so I could really
Mhm.
focus. Or maybe if I could get a ride to the library,
Yeah.
like let them come up with
Solutions.
their own
Mhm.
solution instead of just making these suggestions, because we don't know what each other really needs.
Mhm.
We think we know, because oftentimes we
Mhm.
just assume that other people think and have the same thoughts and needs that we do, and the
Mhm.
way we go about things are the way they go about things, and that may not be the case. And so you let them tell you
Mhm.
what the obstacle is. It's quiet time in this case.
Yeah, and it could be so many other things, right?
Sure.
And in this example, it could be we've got all these family events planned. I need to not go to one of them. Can I?
Can I
Or,
skip church
you know,
on
this
Sunday?
is our week to do all these lawn chores, and can I renegotiate that and get, like a week later, I'll do it. I need time and space
This week is
to
really
work
important.
on this. And because I've got work on these days and I've got other problems on these days and challenges. And so I really need help. And so then it's like, okay, well, what would it look like for us to help support you in that? Or how can we support you? Wow.
What
Th-
you're conveying here, and she may have already, or he may have already said, I need some quiet time. That's how you can support me. We can keep the younger kids quiet, or you can get me to the library. And so what you're doing when you convey this, how can we support you, is I see you. What's important to you around this is important to me, because we're one family.
Mhm.
Again, this common theme in our relationships, that it's about unity.
Yeah.
In our family, everybody matters. And so, okay, this is what we can agree to do. We'll listen. I'll take the dinner dish in. I know this is your week to do dishes after supper. Hey, I'll take that on. Or one of the other siblings jumps up and says, yeah, I'll do that,
Mhm.
because I care about you. This is what you're communicating. I care about
Mhm.
you, and it matters to us because it matters to you.
Yeah. Here's one. We can support you by praying for you
There's always
sincerely, right? That's like
blinding
the
flash
last
of
thing
the
we think.
obvious.
And maybe even pray right then, right? And ongoing. Maybe type out a little short text prayer, or just share the thought that, hey, we are with you. We are asking God to help you. And it's all for one for all.
Yeah, this answers the question, where do you get perseverance?
Yeah.
Remember, we're passing on the character and nature of God. Well, we get our perseverance from the Lord. We get everything that
Yeah.
we need. We receive everything that we need, and we can do everything that we need to do in and through our Lord Jesus. And so this would be a great time to pray into that.
Yeah. And here's a question that we love around this coach approach too. And that, we've had this whole conversation from stories to some wisdom, maybe a scripture. So we've got some ideas in the conversation around what perseverance looks like. We love to ask this question. Well, so what was the learning in our conversation around perseverance? What stuck out to you? It really, again, it helps our children to own and take personal responsibility for how they're relating to God around perseverance.
Yeah, if you would share the story around perseverance, something in your life, that learning might be, wow, I just learned that sometimes you just really got to buckle down and exercise your will. Or I learned that it's okay to set other things aside, that life is sometimes things are more important in different seasons. And that whatever their learning was based on the sharing of the wisdom and the sharing of the story, because remember, this is their aha.
Yeah.
And we don't argue with our own logic and our own stories.
Yeah.
When it's real for them, it's real for them.
Yeah, that's good. It might be, some of the learning might be, if you've talked around this area of perseverance, it's like, I finally came to the point where I couldn't do it alone. I was so tired or so much going on. I had no ability to make it happen on my own. And I prayed and asked God, and he gave me his strength. I mean, that's the word. Maybe even the scripture was shared that it's in our weakness, his strength is made perfect. And for them to learn that in the context of perseverance and apply that in their own life to something going on right now, there's an emotional implant around this big term paper or whatever, it is ingraining that character quality down at a heart level. And what a lesson.
Yeah. And I'm always going to throw in the personal investigator tool. It's the first one in all of the reason we put it first is for a reason. That question might be, well, how does it feel? How do you feel about this big term paper you come up? And it might be, man, I'm scared.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this would be a great time to pull out that PI tool. Go back and if you're not using that on a regular basis, I can't stress enough how important and how it will actually transform the way you think.
Yeah, that's a transformation tool.
It is a transformation tool, and you can teach this to your kids in just a real easy, natural way. Like, okay, so what's your thinking deep down in there? Well, I'm afraid because I don't think I'm going to be able to get it done, and it might be external obstacles like we talked about, but it might be what Randy just said. I don't think I have it in me. I'm not enough. I don't have the strength to do this. And so this is that process to take them through. Where do you get that strength? And what does God say? And then that brings us up to those deepest commitments. So, okay, we're going to bring our support. So what's your deepest commitment around this week, getting that paper done? Wow, you know what? I'm going to put off, I'm not going to go have coffee with my friends, or I'm going to just reprioritize this week. And yeah, maybe I give up some TV time or
that personal investigator tool. Did I interrupt you?
No, go.
Okay, thanks. Sorry. That personal investigator tool is really a structured coaching conversation.
Yeah, it is.
It really is. It's 5 questions. And it's a what we call a processing conversation. It's helping someone to process through what's going on so that they see many things and actually can transform. And they can see where they're at. They can see the obstacles. They can see the solutions. They can see how God thinks about it. They can choose to agree with God, and then they can commit. That's what you said. Their deepest commit, and commit to taking specific, measurable, strategic action in the next couple of weeks, or whatever. And I'll tell you, you might think, man, that seems pretty complicated. It really isn't.
It's not.
And you'll learn it, and you'll have it down. It'll be so natural in a short time. But what it will do is it will teach our generations how to take personal responsibility, how to think things through, how to make good decisions, how to govern themselves with God's help, really joint govern. And it is a wonderful place. I tell you, if I knew that every time I came to my family, every time we were coming to a ritual time, I was going to get encouraged, I was going to have fun, I was going to be able to learn something.
Be challenged.
I'd be really deeply more connected to my parents and my siblings because of this sharing. And that what's important to me, a need that I have, was going to get heard, understood, supported. Holy moly. That is a healthy family culture.
That's a dinner you're not going to want to miss.
We'll make time for that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to eventually have good attitude about it, even if they're teenagers. And I don't mean that against teenagers. I love teenagers. But, we all have our assumptions about what things are going to be like. But when you experience this, remember, this isn't Randy and Leslie's design. This is God's design around a regular time for the family to come together and to pass on the character and nature of God. We're going to send you away to break real back. We're going to, or when we come back, we're going to put a bow on this ritual tool, and we'll be right back.
Are you struggling with parenting, unsure of how to raise your children in today's world? Has your marriage lost its spark and intimacy? Has your family drifted apart and lost connection? Do you feel it's too late for you? Do you want more for your family?
Our team of trained and certified family coaches will guide your family on a journey of healing, growth, discovery, and transformation, all based on Dr. Randall Bixby's best-selling book, The Family Legacy: Shaping Culture from the Inside Out.
After working with a family coach, our adult children notice our improved listening skills and express that they really felt heard by us more than ever.
Working with a family coach has empowered our kids to be able to fully communicate their thoughts and feelings. And the tools we've learned have given them the independence and confidence to know how to lovingly resolve conflict.
Our coaches will meet you right where you're at and help you learn practical strategies to shape your children's character, rebuild your marriage, and leave a lasting legacy.
Isn't it time to prioritize your family? If not now, when? Click the link below to schedule your free 30-minute consult with a family coach today.
All right, guys, we're gonna finish up this podcast and tie a bow around this ritual dinner practice and using the coach approach.
Yeah, and I want to just say a couple of the things I thought of over the break, and that is when there is time for a confrontational kind of conversation, a conflict. You know, the typical approach for people that don't have training around this is to just dive in. Like, why are you doing this? Stop doing this. Don't do that because I said so. And that's really been proven. I bet in your own experience as well that doesn't work. Now you say, oh, yes, it does. Well, it might work in the moment
You're going to get compliance.
Under compliance, but that doesn't change a heart. It doesn't change thinking. It doesn't foster personal responsibility and choosing to agree with God. It doesn't disciple just to tell somebody not to do something. As soon as that telling them to do it is gone, they're going to do what they are thinking and desiring in their heart. And so this is really important. When your children are sinning, how about that? When they're missing the mark, like we all do, one of the best approaches is this coach approach. Now, you can do it at the family table as well, but it could be in any other conversation. Yeah. But it really is, instead of going in guns blazing, you're really pausing and you're asking a good question like, hey, I'm really curious. You stayed up way too late on your tablet all night and you're tired and you're grumpy and you have a really bad attitude to it. I'm curious, what is your thinking in choosing to do that? And then you wait.
You wait. This is important. You wait.
Yeah, and in that silence, then, well, whatever. I just want, well, no, tell me more. What's the thinking? Because here's what we've learned in parenting. Unless the thinking in the heart changes by a choice of will, a willing choice to think differently, then we are not effective in our parenting, in our, to train up a child in the way it should go. When they're old, they won't depart from it. Well, how do you do that? What we have found is the coach approach is a superior way for helping our children and each other. Leslie and I, we use the coach approach with each other
all the time,
almost all day, every day. I mean, like that's we've ingrained that. That's who we are. And with our kids, they have it with us. They'll catch it if we have a comment or something about where we have this negative feeling. Like, oh, I wonder what's the thinking behind that. They ask us, and we love it.
We love it. And because sometimes it's just that one question to snap you out of it. Oh, that just came right out of my soul. Yeah. That didn't come out of a place from love.
And so then we go through that coaching conversation. Well, what's the thinking in the heart causing this? And hey, what's the cost and benefit of choosing to think that way? And what does God think? Mm-hmm. This is that personal investigator tool that Leslie started. And then finally, what do I choose to think? Now, you had a good notice over the break as well around just how offended everybody is in our culture, and that victim way of thinking.
Yeah.
Talk to us about your
Yeah,
share your thought around that.
we just know this is just what we've got, and people feel depression is at an all-time high. It's affecting every age group of children are depressed now because they have this belief system in their heart that they're powerless to change anything. There's so many bad things going on. The news is bad news, bad news, bad news. And it affects our countenance if we are not stewarding our hearts. And I want to encourage you again, go back and watch the episode, listen to the episode rather, on the personal investigator tool, because we can teach our children and ourselves how to self-govern our own thinking. Neuroscience says up to 95% of our thinking is happening at a subconscious level. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And that's because we've got so much external information and stimulus coming at us all the time.
That's right.
That's just what is. But what happens is we unknowingly are making these agreements that the world is not safe and I'm not enough and I'm a victim to this and I'm powerless to do anything about this, when the truth is life happens from us. Even when there's negative things, bullying going on and wars and rumors of wars, we can still operate from a place of peace. And this tool helps us train each other and our children how to tap into, what do I really believe in my heart? And as believers, we've got an amazing God.
Yeah.
We've got access to actually be able to walk in peace. We're being transformed by the renewing of our minds. And this coach approach helps us get into that mind part of us, not our brain, our mind, that subconscious part of us, and explore, have the thinking illuminated.
Yeah.
What do I really think? What do I really believe around what's happening externally and the emotions that it's bringing up in me, and this belief system that I'm powerless? And then how does God think about it? Well, the word says I can do all things. And it helps us recognize, it's empowering to know that we have a choice in what we believe and think. We actually do. That's what the word says, and neuroscience proves it now anyway. We really can learn to take those thoughts captive and bring them under obedience, to think the way that God thinks about things. This is that inside out transformation. You can exercise this in your family, in your conversations every day, all day. And it's empowering and equipping your kids to know how to go down and tap into those deeper belief systems in their heart, and to choose to empower them, like, oh, I have a choice here. I'm not powerless about what's going on.
What you're talking about is so important. I wish there was a way like the Matrix, and then there is actually, I guess, these things that we're sharing, we've got them by experience and revelation from God. God gets the credit for it.
Yeah.
And what we're sharing has revelation. And if you want to see this and understand this the way God does, you get to go to him for your own revelation around this. But I'll say another thought, and that was, oftentimes when we start a coaching engagement with a family, maybe it's a marriage engagement, marriage coaching, or maybe we start with a goal worksheet and we set it out there and we say, hey, I want you guys to get clear with each other and the Lord. What is specifically the areas that you want to see improved or changed, or, what do we want to spend our time coaching, and how will we know that we've achieved your goal? And they come back to us, and there's very, very common is the responses on there, like, I want to be a better husband. I want to be a better wife. I want to be a better father. Well, the sentiment of that is good, because I think everybody can be a better husband and father, right? All of us can grow. That's God's design. And the interesting thing about that is, well, how will we do that? What's better mean?
Exactly. That's a better question. What does being a better father or better mother or better sibling mean? Like, practically, what does it mean? Well, maybe it means I'm more intentional with my time with my spouse. It means that I'm actually kind.
Well, and maybe it's a better steward of our resources, or maybe it's more quality time, or maybe it's I need to be a better spiritual leader. What I'm saying is better is defined very specifically uh, if we're actually going to make those changes. And the coach approach is the mechanism to take somebody from, I want to be a better father, a better parent, to actually becoming a better. That coach approach takes that desire to be better and it gets very concrete and specific. And it's a how to become better.
Yeah. In a nutshell, we all want, right? We all
Oh,
want to be
gosh.
skinny, rich, and
Happy.
That's what we want. Well, how does it feel to want? So this goal setting with this coach approach is, okay, what are you going to do to get there? What are the obstacles?
Mhm.
What's stopping you from doing that, and tapping into that thinking and setting those goals and having in a family supportive environment of actually getting there through open questions that inspire us to tap down into those deeper parts of us and again touch into those, expose those belief systems. What's holding you back? Well, I guess at the end of the day, I don't think I'm capable, or I'm not enough, or I don't feel loved, or whatever it is. This coach approach is a real practical, real-time way to cross those finish lines.
Yes.
The most effective, powerful people on the planet are people that set goals, reach the goals, and set higher goals. This is how we're going from glory to glory to glory in a really practical way, not just I want to, or I should, or I need to. This is I choose to. This is the goal, and mapping out how we're going to get there and doing it together in a loving, encouraging accountability. This is true discipleship of our children.
Yeah. And I'm going to leave it with this. That was so good. That the way to become a better parent is to use a coach approach in your family.
Yeah.
It's not the only way, but it is a major way. And it's a vehicle that can touch every dimension of your life. You can touch how well you love, how well you serve, how well you work. I mean, this coach, and I'll tell you, this is the next book I think I want to write.
Family.
The coach approach to family. It's Jesus's approach to teaching. He told a story, he asked some questions, he drew out where people were really at, and then he shared a little truth and left the choice to them. And that's essentially the coach approach. And we encourage you to use it in the ritual, to use it in your normal conversations. It will serve you well.
Yeah. And listen, our goal as parents ultimately is to raise up these children in the way that they should go. And the coach approach gives them a how-to. If you will use this approach real time with your families when it is their time to go off to college and do their own thing, they know how to think, they know how to tap in, and
they not only coach themselves, they're coaching others,
and they're coach their own kids.
And this is a leadership, of course, leadership's another passion of ours, but everybody's a leader. You're leading your life, and everybody you influence, you have the power to lead and influence them. And this coach approach is just a stellar leadership tool.
Indeed.
Anyway, we go on and on about this, but remember, whoever wins the family
wins the culture in the end.
See you next time. And that wraps up another inspiring episode of Transforming Families with Randy and Leslie. We hope that today's conversation has left you feeling empowered and equipped to take action.
Remember, transforming families begins with transforming ourselves. Let's be intentional, loving, and persevere. You're not alone. We're right here with you.
We believe Proverbs 24:3, wise people are builders. They build families, businesses, and communities. Through intelligence and insight, their enterprises are established and endure.
Thanks for joining us today. We encourage you to stay connected with us on social media, join our email list, and learn more about our resources and classes at the Family School by visiting thefamilyreformationproject.com.
Remember to subscribe, share with your loved ones, and spread the word about transforming families. We'll see you on our next episode. And remember, whoever wins the family wins the culture in the end.